how can we build a cooler data center? How can we schedule workload if we operate different data centers so we can take inferencing for this specific workload to this destination where temperature is lower, which means the consumption of energy is going to be lower as well. And we can optimize our carbon footprint, right? And obviously do better to our climate. So there are a lot of decisions that you need the API, which is a layer of intelligence, to be coupled with all the other decisions that you are taking so you can make a better decision. That layer is what we're introducing through our API. That layer that could speak to logistics, that could speak to insurance, so you can do dynamic pricing, you can unload or offload at specific times, you can choose the perfect routing for your vaccines that are time and temperature sensitive. There are so many
Oh, wow.
applications around where temperature intelligence could be used in our day-to-day in our decisions that we make almost every hour, and that layer is missing. So our API is an incentive that you can add to your existing platform, to your existing dashboard, to your existing app, where you can unlock that, or you can add that level of precision when it comes to temperature to the decision that you are making, so you can just make a better one. And I kid you not, Mike, we're talking about millions of dollars because this is not just nice to have. You're losing, and this is what we realize with a lot of businesses that we're working with, millions of dollars to temperature where cost is just increased and you can't do anything about it because what you don't know the problem. So if you don't know the size of the problem, you never know what's the size of the solution anyways, right? So temperature intelligence through our APIs informing those decisions means half of the solution now is understood, which is the understanding of the problem. And now we can introduce a solution, not us, but the people who are using this layer with their decisions, so they can introduce a solution that is effective for their business, that is effective for their carbon footprint and their scope 3 reporting, that is effective for their P&L, right? And their stakeholders and shareholders and all the other things that they need to fulfill in order for them to be a profitable business.
Jay, remember you telling us the story of how you got here, and I think that would be super interesting. I think because this temperature intelligence is a new thing, and it's also because it's not like you say, it's not temperature like, hey, how hot is it outside? Oh, it's about 78 degrees or whatever it is, right? But it's how hot is it on this block of Broadway in New York City at the ground level, 10 feet higher than that. So it's like exact location temperature, which is different. And I think we were wrestling with or thinking about like, well, how does that, like, what problems does that solve? But I was just reading this morning or in my email feed or whatever. New York City is releasing the first ever urban forest plan, right? So they're targeting 30% tree canopy cover over 2040 in different boroughs, which is going to make a big difference cooling New York City. And they built a lot of cities with no urban forest plan. But it would seem that your technology would be super valuable because you'd be able to say, hey, here's parts of Brooklyn or wherever it is that are because of the buildings, the way that they're designed, are going to be really hot. And so this is where you should start with your urban canopy versus just a lottery or doing it randomly. Would that be the case? And then can you give us, would you mind telling us the story also of how did you get here? Like, how did you get to this place of temperature intelligence?
So I think the story will give the answer to your question. We are solving for temperature, but interestingly, we started as an asphalt company. So I read an article that was published in LA about cooling LA. So now cities are actually talking about this a lot. You said cooling Manhattan, there is cooling Riyadh and cooling different cities. Every city is just starting a project to cool down. So LA was painting roads with a white pigment to cool down LA. And I was fascinated. I was like, why not we cool down Abu Dhabi, where I come from? Abu Dhabi is hot. We all know that it's hot. Roadway asphalt make almost 40% of the city, but we can't paint every road. So why not we just produce e-cooler asphalt?